In today's video, we're going to be viewing all of our different models today. The European model does show a massive snowstorm for areas like New Jersey, New York City, up into Connecticut, Rhode Island, and even to Massachusetts near Boston. So we have an absolute monster snowstorm to be tracking. It is only a potential snowstorm at this point that needs to be remembered, but definitely looks very, very promising at this point. We'll also view our other models as well later on. We can see that by the time we're reaching later today, Sunday, March 5th, I can't believe we're that far into March already. It seems to just be flying by, but we are here and we are talking about it. We do have a bit of a snowstorm here for the West, California, Nevada, Utah, even in through southern Oregon there, we see some snowfall happening, but especially there in the Sierra Nevadas, that's where we're going to be watching for the most of that heavy snowfall, so areas right in here. And as we can see, as we move on, we're just going to take this towards Monday afternoon. We have a bit of a quieter pattern. This is what we've been calling for during this time frame because we have a pretty flat jet stream, and usually this causes storms to be a bit weaker. And we can see that there is no major low pressure centers really over the United States at all. I see the lowest is maybe 1,001, and that's not even over the United States. We see this 1,006 millibar low pressure center. So a couple of very weak lows around, but nothing major happening whatsoever. And I think our first major-ish storm, our major event that happens, is going to be March 10th. So we're going to have a quieter pattern here. We do see snowfall up here for the northern plains, as you can see, and also the upper Midwest, seeing some of that snowfall there with this system. And this is going to be mostly probably in the form of snow showers around for these areas. Probably quite cold, though. We could be watching for thunderstorms underneath in here as well. As we have some warmer air tracking up the East Coast, this could lead towards multiple different impacts. Now, we can also see at this time frame, we also have a very major storm moving onshore to the west here. So states like Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, Utah, and Nevada there are seeing snowfall. We're actually seeing very heavy snowfall here along those Sierra Nevada mountains. So again, they're going to get even more snowfall out there. They've already seen a ton. And this storm right here is going to be interesting because we see it develop into a 999 millibar low pressure center by time we're reaching Saturday the 11th here. We need to just see how this one's going to progress. So as we reach later into Sunday, here is that monster snowstorm. It is bombed down to a 978 millibar low pressure center there. We'll actually just zoom into the northeast because this is going to be a pretty major event potentially. So we're going to take a really zoomed in look. So we see that it starts out as a weaker low, 998, pretty innocent there. We do see some moderate to heavy snowfall developing here across New York into Pennsylvania and New Jersey there. So these areas are already seeing a bit of snowfall. And then by the time we're reaching into about 2 p.m. on Saturday, March 11th, we see it's developed all the way down to a 991, beginning to see very heavy snowfall near Long Island, New York City, in areas in northern New Jersey as well, extremely heavy snowfall. And then by the time we're reaching 8 p.m. here, we can see that this snowfall is coming down at absolute monstrous rates. This is going to be blizzard conditions if this does verify here. So probably this pocket here would be dealing with blizzard conditions. We do need to confirm here with this wind, but it does look like there's going to be easily gusts over 30 to 40 mile per hour, maybe even 50 mile per hour in this corridor here. So certainly blizzard conditions if this verifies, like I mentioned. The snowfall rates in here, let's see, that's going to be easily 10 inches in the 6-hour period, it appears, maybe even more than that. So this is going to be, easily 1 inch to 2 inch per hour rates in these very dark colors in here. If this verifies, again, that's the important part. So where it turns magenta-ish, that is well over 1 inch per hour rates, which is usually very heavy snowfall. That's usually a good measurement for that. We see it develops down to a 976 there, and actually begins to kind of it's tracked like this, and it's basically curving back out to sea. So we actually see more areas switching over to snowfall. So we're seeing this heavy corridor of snowfall in here. Actually, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut getting kind of those 1 inch per hour plus amounts there. And then we see it stick around, and it eventually moves up the East Coast. The snowfall from this particular snowstorm that we're left with would be monstrous, okay? So we can see two areas in particular, but real quickly, this is the 10 inch plus area for this storm, would be something like this. So this is a pretty far stretching area. We're going to try to actually zoom in to two different areas here. We'll zoom into kind of the Boston area here so we can see this, and we can see that this is 20 inches to even 30 inches plus, 20 to 30 inches plus on this model run. So kind of the southern areas of Boston there. I don't know why that turned so little there. Right here, this would be the southern areas of Boston and areas south of there in Rhode Island. Right there, beautiful area. I've been there. Northern Rhode Island is extremely beautiful. I think all of Rhode Island is probably beautiful, but especially the northern hilly regions. I love it there. But this in particular would be an extremely large snowstorm, obviously. And let's take a look at New York City and see if we're getting more there on this model run. And it does appear like they're not getting quite as much as that area, but still we're looking at probably a far stretching area of 20 inches, something like this right here. Seems to be what we're looking at. So that looks to be your 20 inches plus area, and then we're probably approaching 2 feet plus in a lot of these areas in here. So this is where you're at, like 24 to 30 inches, I would say, in this corridor here. So kind of on your west side of New York, Newark, New Jersey, areas just west of there and south of there as well, seeing those very large amounts. Now, obviously, this is very far out, so this has room to move around, of course, and obviously come down or come up in the amounts, but this is something to track, and I think this is really unique to look at, just those heavy amounts of snowfall. Very, very interesting stuff. So that storm moves out, and we start to see our next storm system developing, and it's a weaker one, but that major one started out as a weaker one as well, so we'll have to wait and see. But we have kind of this pretty gradient look, rain to the south, snow to the north, nothing crazy there. Now the total precipitation tells the full story. We do have a ton of storms moving onshore to the northwest, and these storms are extremely major, so we're getting easily close to 10 inches of liquid precipitation here, and that translates to about 100 inches or more there for the Sierra Nevadas of snowfall. So extreme amounts of snowfall expected out there. And then we can see we're going to have some storm systems moving through like this. That's kind of the motion. It's weird, but you see that kind of slither that it does off the East Coast. That prolongs the amount of time that it's kind of in these areas, and that's why I think they see so much precipitation, about 2 inches of liquid precipitation there, which translates to 20 inches plus at a 10-to-1 ratio, and it probably would be even better ratios than that. So yeah, definitely a whole lot of snowfall. Speaking of the snowfall, we have a maximum of 199.9 inches of snowfall, practically 200 inches, and I'm willing to bet it's in that Sierra Nevadas there. So very, very snowy pattern still upcoming as we have some storm systems moving onshore like this. So these are going to track over and bring the snowfall to the mountainous areas. And then we get kind of this one doing this. It's going to do this like that, and then it's going to transfer here, and then kind of do that, you know, slither off the East Coast just like this. So that prolongs the track, like I mentioned, and brings extreme amounts here to the Mid-Atlantic and the Northeast. They're mostly near New York and Boston. So very, very interesting solution here. The GFS model, actually, we have good agreement here for the most part. We do see that storm transfer off the East Coast, and I'll zoom into the Northeast as well here. Just to give us that northeast view. It's not quite as intense. It doesn't drop as low in pressure, but look at the placement of the low. We had this one over Chicago yesterday, and the European model was near here, and it's still near here, and now we have the GFS switching over. So obviously a much less intense storm on the GFS model here, but it is having a very similar low placement, which is going to be crucial. Now we do see 10 inches plus, about 10 to 15 inches in this corridor here, but obviously this is a far less snowy solution than what we saw just previously on the European model. So we need to wait and see if this one will come together with that or not. We do see that we do get another pretty major northeast snowstorm as well here, as we have a pretty strong low developing there, very heavy corridor. And that's around the 15th here on the GFS model. And then we get another one there right around the 20th. So this GFS model says it's going to be a cold and snowy pattern. Obviously, I'm not hoping for that at this point in the spring, but we'll have to wait and see what happens. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to subscribe as we do upload every single day. Also, you can hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we do upload. Also, like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.